Hey, it's Philip with G6 Technology Services. Happy New Year! Let's start the year off with an office and network tour. So I'll take you around and show you my office setup and my work/home lab server room setup. So let's get started. So you'll have to ignore the little mess of papers there, but here's my main desk setup. So we've got my multifunction printer, my phone, and this is my main computer right now. I just have this Dell laptop that's hooked up to this monitor and keyboard and everything. I had a Precision Tower down here that I was using as my primary PC, but the hard drive, or the SSD, actually died in it. I'm not sure what happened. I had a few of them all die at once that I got in the same batch. So I'm not sure if I got a bad batch or if there's just something going that's doing a bunch of little read and writes and just wearing them out. But I never changed it, so I'm gonna have to get one of those. Hopefully I'll get that taken care of pretty soon. But for now, I've just got the laptop, a couple little decorations, got my little fridge with some drinks. So that's pretty much it. This is where I do most of my work at this little desk setup. So let's go take a look at the server room. All right, so here's the server room. I've just got these two racks in this little tiny room, and it doubles as a storeroom. So I've got some storage in here, some old phones. We'll go over some of that stuff first, I guess. This is my vintage Dell computer collection. Need to find a better place for that. I've got some spare phones, some spare network stuff that's part of the vintage collection. Office supplies storage, and then over here I've got my little backup air conditioner, and then just some extra equipment, a bunch of switches, just small ones, box of cables, more switches, more cables, old firewall, and then like spare power supplies for some of the larger switches over here. So let's start over, I guess on this left rack it'll probably be faster. So this top section, these two white and orange units, they used to be Sophos UTM 425 firewalls, but really all they are inside is just a regular, x86 PC. It's just got a fancy chassis and a little screen on it and some buttons and stuff, so it's just a little regular computer. I don't know what the exact specs are, but it's got an Intel CPU in there and just a bunch of NICs in the front. So anyway, these are both a friend of mine's. He's got, what was it, Proxmox running on there with some VMs. And then this 2U black thing right here is a custom chassis from Amazon or something with a regular computer motherboard in it. And then it's got this pretty cool, actually, these two 5¼ inch like CD drive bays. The first one has a 6-bay, 2.5 inch hot swap drive bay in it. So each one of those three on each side, those 6 blue lights, are all 2.5 inch drives you can individually remove. And it's got its own backplane, and I don't remember exactly how it connects on the inside. And then there's a single hot swap 3.5 inch hard drive under that. But he's got TrueNAS running on here, and it's used for storage. So it's a pretty cool chassis. I really like that case. Below, I've just actually got some switches stored in here. They're not doing anything. This third one down is just kind of a testing thing. The other ones are not doing anything. And then this is the main switch right here. This is an HP 5412ZL, this ProCurve switch. It's pretty old, but I got it for free, and it does a great job. They're super reliable. So I got everything in here plugged into it, as well as all of the fiber links that go to different parts of the building are all linked into here as well. These modules at the bottom are 10 gigabit Ethernet. I've got 3 of those. This big chunky fiber cable right there is 10 gig as well. These are all 1 gigabit. Everything up here is all 1 gigabit. All the copper Ethernet ports are all PoE capable. It's just regular PoE. They're not PoE Plus, unfortunately. I don't know if I can get modules that support that or not. That would be pretty cool. And then I've got this one right here. What I have in slot F is just full of gigabit SFP ports. So that's pretty cool. Don't know if I'll ever need to use all those, but it's nice to have the capacity. And then under it, I've just got another of the exact same 5412ZL chassis switch. I reconfigured these. The reason this has so many of these Ethernet modules is because I pulled all the exciting modules out and put them up in this one. But this is pretty much just a backup. It, as you can see, doesn't have anything plugged into it except the uplink to this other switch. So if I ever needed it, it was there. It's kind of just like a hot spare. I've got all the VLANs configured on it the same way that I have on this one. So if I need to switch over, I can. They also share components like power supplies and the controller board. So if I need to rob parts of it, I can. Down here, this is just a little 8-port HP switch that's just sitting there. I was using it for something for testing, and I'm not anymore. These are actually pretty cool, and I have a whole stack of them over here. They're actually able to be powered by PoE if you plug in PoE to the first port, and it'll run the whole switch. They don't forward PoE out of any of the other ports, so that would be kind of cool. I think Ubiquiti has a switch like that where if you power it with PoE++, you can plug in some PoE devices. But these don't do that, but they do take power in and then give you 7 other ports that you can plug devices into, so that's pretty cool. So now over to the main rack. I tried to separate, besides that stuff at the top, this was supposed to be the network on the left, and this is supposed to be servers here on the right. So at the top, there's just some like junk up there. I've got this HDMI transceiver thing that sends HDMI over IP, which used to be plugged into this little Dell Micro PC, and I had a security camera monitor going, but that actually stopped working for some reason, and so now I just kind of have this laptop set up back here. So I need to dig into that a little bit and figure out what happened. And then this is my like KVM setup. I just have this keyboard and monitor, and there's a mouse tucked back there somewhere, just for if I have to locally manage any of these. But I don't actually have a KVM switch, so that's my hands. I just have to go and unplug and plug in these cables. But luckily, these Dell servers, it's super convenient. They've got USB and VGA right on the front of them, so I don't have to go dig around in the back. So we'll start at the top here with these Dell servers. So this first one is an R720XD, and this is being used as an NVR. I've just got Windows 10 on it right now. I don't know why I ended up going with that. I think I didn't have a copy of Windows Server, or I thought I didn't at the time, but I actually do. So I'm actually going to redo this server. I'm going to put Windows Server like 2019 or whatever I have a license key for, just to run on there. That'll be a lot better, so it doesn't randomly reboot because of updates all the time. It'll let me control when those happen. So we've got 9 3.5-inch hard drives. They're not the NVR rated ones, they're SAS drives that came with it. And I don't remember exactly, I think they're 2 terabytes a piece, something like that. And I think they're in like a RAID 6 possibly. I think I ended up with a little over 10 terabytes total, whatever that ends up working out to. And then over here, this one with the red or amber light flashing on it, this is an SSD, this is the boot drive. And I think that's actually going bad as well. That's like what I was talking about earlier, where I got a batch of SSDs that didn't last very long. So what I actually want to do here, I've got this server came for some reason with this whole right side, these 3 bays just empty. So I actually had to buy what that SSD is in right now, that bracket. I had to buy that on Amazon because it didn't come with it. And then it's just got this empty space here. They didn't even put a blank in it. This was used, all of these were bought used off of Amazon. So what my plans are for this this NVR server, so I want to, like I said, change the operating system, and then I'm going to put in 2 SSDs. I'm going to go get 2 new ones. I've got another drive caddy on the way, and I'm going to mirror them so we have a little bit of redundancy. And then this last bay, I'm just going to throw, I think I have an extra 4 terabyte Western Digital purple drive. I'm going to throw that in there and use it to offload some of the older footage to save some space. I figure the older stuff we're not going to be as likely to need if that drive fails. We'd probably want the more recent stuff, which will be on the RAID array. That does have the iDRAC setup on it, and it does a patrol read, and I get email alerts if anything goes wrong with it. Oh, and if you notice, don't worry about this second drive here, the light's off on it. It actually is running, it's just for some reason the LEDs are burned out for that slot, but that drive does work and it's on. So next we have this, I think think this is an R730. Yep, there it is. R730, and this is an ESXi host. This one actually is kind of a weird situation. This one I did not get on Amazon. I got it from a previous job. They were getting rid of it. And it only has, I think, like 32 gigs of RAM in it. Decent CPUs. I forget what they are. 2-socket, a lot of cores. And then the storage is all... actually, I don't remember what's in here. I think I replaced... It doesn't... Whatever it says on here, I don't think is correct. This 200 gigabyte SSD on the front here, I think actually that died as well, so I changed it out, and it's got like a Samsung SSD in it. And then actually I think the rest of these SAS drives are what's in there. They're 300 gigabyte spinning drives, so there's not too much capacity there. But this is kind of my mission critical VMs, since this is the newest and more reliable server, I'd say, because I pretty much had custody over it since it was purchased when I worked there. And I know it's been taken care of, so I kind of trust it the most. So I do want to add more RAM to it. That's the only thing that I really want to do, because I think I can only fit like 6 or 7 VMs on it, and then I'm getting low on RAM. So next we have, what is this? This is another R720XD, but this is the 2.5-inch variant, where we had the 3.5-inch up top. And by the way, I did that on purpose with this NVR because I had intended to fill it full of those purple drives. And you can't really get, as far as I've found, any of these specialty drives in a 2.5-inch format. They pretty much only have them in 3.5-inch. So whenever these start failing, I'm going to replace them with the purple drives, but I just figure if it comes with them all at the beginning, why spend more money on drives when it's already got drives? So I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But I did want that one to have 3.5-inch bays, and then this one I chose for kind of a similar reason. This is my TrueNAS box, and you might be thinking you'd want to have those NAS-rated drives in it, which, yeah, maybe, but you can only fit 12 in here, and this has 24 slots in it. So I figured I would try my luck with just standard non-NAS rated drives, but I'd have room for so much more capacity, and the drives are cheaper because they're just, you can throw laptop drives in there. So that's actually what this is running. All these trays, the labels are wrong on them. They don't have SAS drives and they don't have SSDs. I think the first the first 2 drives are mirrored SSDs, and that's the boot volume. And then the rest of these slots are all 1 terabyte laptop drives. They literally came out of laptops that got upgraded to SSDs. So maybe not the best to use used laptop drives in it, but I at the time didn't want to spend a bunch of money, so that's what I've got in there. So I've got enough space that if I wanted to upgrade, what I would do is just get some larger capacity new drives and fill up the end, and then migrate everything off the initial drives and replace those as well. Then I'd have 2 pools, because apparently with ZFS it doesn't allow you to add drives to a pool or something like that. I'm not too familiar, but with a RAID you can add drives and expand the volume, traditional hardware RAID. But I've been looking into it, and with the ZFS it's not possible or difficult. I think I saw it was going to be a feature coming in the future, but they don't have it yet. So anyway, moving on, we have an R720. This one is a ESXi host, and it does have local storage. This actually is kind of the workhorse out of all of them. It has like 30 VMs on it. It's like 200 gigs of RAM, 200 something, 192 gigs of RAM, I think. And the dual socket CPU, tons of cores, lots of stuff on here. And then this bottom one actually is my newest one. This, what is this? Oh, another R720. And it actually has no local storage besides this first drive that's blinking orange. And that is just an SSD that was, again, it was bought at the same time as the rest of these that are failing, so that's a little unfortunate. But that just has ESXi installed onto it. There's no data store on it. And the rest of these slots just have blanks. So this one also has almost 200 gigs of RAM and a lot of CPU capacity. So what I would like to do here is replace that SSD that is no good and put a new one in, and then add a couple. I probably do just like 2 1 terabyte SSDs and mirror them, and then I can store some more VMs on here, because some of the ones that I have don't take up any storage, not very much, like 50 gigabytes or something, just for basic amount. And anyway, stuff like that would be good on here. And then I have plenty of room, as you can see, to add more in the future. So that is it for production systems. Below that, I have this block of Xserves that were also from a previous job, but none of these are currently doing anything. One of them, I think this top one, I'm not sure actually, but one of them is newer, and it has some nicer Intel CPUs. The other ones, I think these are all Intel, but they're older, have older firmware, and but I cannot get anything to run on these. These were purchased like in 2006 or 7 or something, and I've tried so many different things. You can get this like ancient version of Proxmox to run on the newest one. The other ones won't run anything. So what I was thinking I might do is try to set up like a vintage Apple lab kind of thing, where I'll figure out whatever software is supposed to be on there, like Snow Leopard or whatever it would have come with, or the latest supported version, and just set up some of the services that macOS Server used to support. I never tried any of them. Like, they had some messaging thing and wikis, and you could do your own email. So it'd be cool to kind of play with some of that. I've got a couple of Apple computers, a few MacBooks and a Mac Mini, so I would like to kind of play with that and set up a little Apple lab here. Under that, we have a Precision T3500. This used to be my NAS, and it had TrueNAS on it. It had 2 like 4 terabyte drives that were mirrored, and that actually did a great job. There was no reason I should have replaced it, except I just wanted all my stuff to be rack mountable and then have room for more drives and expandability and whatnot. But it was doing a good job. So right now it is currently inactive. It just still has all the data on it that I migrated. I was just going to hang on to it to make sure that the new one was going to work out before I delete everything. So I no longer need that one. So what I think I'm going to do with it is actually put ESXi on there and make it more of a lab VM host, or I can just fill it full of junk that I don't care about, just to have a place for it to run. It doesn't need to have any redundancy or whatnot. So, and below that, we have 2 APC uninterruptible power supplies. I don't know what the model is, it doesn't say on there, and I don't feel like flipping through the menu to see it, but I think they're 3000 VA or 2000, or I don't know, something like that. They need the 30 amp twist lock plug. So those are backing up the entire setup here. We have, I think they're mismatched in load, because one of them I did have to replace the battery in. These I got used, and the batteries are both pretty much shot in them, but one of them I replaced the battery in, so it's brand new. And that's the one that has pretty much everything plugged into it. And you can kind of see, sorry for the twitchiness, you can kind of see on the displays that bottom one that says 60-something%, and the top one says 14%. So that bottom one's the newer one, or has the new battery, brand new battery in it. The top one, the battery is not new. It hasn't said that it failed yet. The other one did. It was flashing and beeping red lights at me. And so the other one, the battery is very old, but it has not said that it's failed yet. So it has some of the less critical stuff plugged into it, like the backup switch, and I think my friend's stuff up there, and like this monitor, this little computer and all that stuff. But I wouldn't really care too much if the battery died on it. We don't have power outages hardly ever over here, thankfully, so that's really nice. I think I get not very much, like 5 to 10 minutes of runtime out of that one that's full. So I'd like to get a new battery for the top one. They're kind of expensive, but if I do that, then I can split the load more evenly, and then I should get longer runtime out of both of them. So that's my plan, to do that. And also, one of those they both have network management cards in them. One of them has this environment monitor temperature probe that's plugged into it. So I get email alerts about the temperature in here. We have had a few times where the building air conditioner shuts off during a power outage and doesn't come back on again. So I have this little backup one over here that runs. I shut it off for the video because it was really loud, but it's usually just on. It's set to like 78 or something, just to make sure it doesn't get 100 degrees in this room. So it's nice to know whenever stuff's starting to cook in here, so I get an email alert, I come down, I just have to go and find the thermostat and turn it off and back on again. And then the AC starts working again. I can walk you around the back. It's kind of a mess and it's going to get a little bit loud. I need to snake my way back here. So we have our that 30 amp twist lock outlet is for the primary UPS. The other one just has this little adapter. I need to change those duplex receptacles out to 30 amp twist lock to make sure that it has the right plugs, it doesn't just fall out. So this is the back. It's very messy up in here. I tried to sort the cables to have all the power cords on the left and the network cables on the right, but it didn't quite work out. Here's all the Dell servers, and then there's everything else that's unplugged, and then the UPS's way under here. You can see the management cards, and then we have some more stuff. This is the back of these HPs. They got 3 power supplies each for redundancy. And then here we have all the fiber and some Ethernet cables that are running into the building. We've got some other switches in a few different locations. I've got a fiber that runs across the hall to my office where we started in. And then I've got another 2 fibers that go, one goes upstairs and one goes to the building across the courtyard where we've got security cameras. And then I have another one that goes to another room that I use to put internet in there. We have some copper Ethernet cables that run out to some cameras and access points that are within close proximity to this room. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, if you're wondering, there is plastic on top of this rack because the ceiling has leaked multiple times and it actually dripped water into my equipment and I lost a server and a network switch. Not happy about that, so I just put this plastic drop cloth up there in case it happened again. That's also why there's kind of brown stains on the floor. It's all just ceiling water. It wasn't sewer or anything like that. We're in the basement, so it wasn't rain either, but it was the first floor air conditioning unit. We're right above, or right underneath the mechanical room for the first floor. And the condensate drain backed up, and it didn't have an overflow shut-off switch, and it just kept pumping and pumping water and dripped all over the place and went in the ceiling and dripped in here, so that's nice. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the server room. I can't remember if there's anything else I was going to talk about, but hope you liked the video, hope you enjoyed. Happy New Year again. I did just also create a Patreon page, so if you feel like checking that out, you can hop on over there, it's in the description. So I want to post some more frequent content on there and some kind of behind the scenes content, stuff that isn't really fit for YouTube. It's too short, or I don't think it would be interesting for the general population, so you'd have to go out to kind of seek it out or whatever. Well, I'm just rambling now, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.